Assalamualaikum and salam sejahtera. We are Group 7 and we're gonna present an introduction of Malaysian legal system. And this is our team members. My name is Sarah Nada binti Zainul Zamin and my matric number is H21A2633 and I'm gonna present about definition of law. Based on Oxford Dictionary, law is the study of the system of rules that a particular country or community recognize as regulating the action of its members. Sir John Salmon said before, the body of principles recognized and applied by the state in the administration of justice. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Afan Bishaimi, my matric number H21A2764. Public law is a branch of law that deals with the relationship between the government and individual or organisation. This includes constitutional law, administrative law, criminal law and international law. Public law is concerned with the power, right, duties and liabilities of the government and its agency, as well as the legal framework that regulate and constrain government activities. It is important because it governs the way in which the government exercises its authority over the citizen. Public law helps to maintain order and protect individual rights while also ensuring the proper functioning of the government. Thank you. Constitutional law is the branch of law that is concerned with the interpretation and application of a country's constitution. The Constitution is the fundamental document that outlines the framework of government, outlines the right and freedom of its citizen, and defines the relationship between the government and its citizen. Constitutional law deals with issues such as the power and limitation of government institutions, the protection of individual rights and liberties, the interpretation of constitutional provision, and the relationship between the levels of government. It also includes the principle of constitutional design, such as federalism, separation of power, checks and balance, and judicial review. The interpretation and application of constitutional law is primarily the responsibility of the judiciary, although other branches of government may also have a role to play. Constitutional law plays a critical role in shaping. Criminal law. Criminal law is the area of law that deals with the act that considered to be crime. A crime is an act that is prohibited by law and is punishable by incarceration, fine, or other criminal penalties. Criminal law is concerned with the protection of individuals who have been accused for committed a crime and the defense of those accused individuals. The criminal justice system is designed to protect society by deterring criminal behavior, punishing those who commit crimes, and rehabilitating offenders. Criminal law is enforced by government agencies such as the police and prosecutor. The criminal justice system is based on the presumption of innocence, and defendants have the right to a fair and impartial trial. Criminal defense and attorneys represent defendants in court, and the prosecution must prove their case beyond a reasonable. Overall, criminal law plays a crucial role in maintaining social order and protecting the rights of individuals and society as a whole. International law. International law, also known as public international law, is the set of legal principles, rules, and agreements that govern the relation and interaction between nations and other international actors, such as international organizations and individuals. International law is developed through treaties, customary practice, and the decision of international court and tribunal. International law is fundamental to maintaining peace and cooperation between nations, and it covers a wide range of areas including human rights, trade, environmental protection, armed conflict, and diplomatic relations. However, international law faces many challenges, including lack of compliance and enforcement by some states, varying interpretation of legal principles, and political and ideological tension between countries. Despite this challenge, international law remains an essential tool in promoting stability, cooperation, and justice in the international system. Public international law is the set of rules, principles, and norms that govern the relationship between state, international organizations, and individuals in the international community. It encompasses a variety of legal fields such as international humanitarian law, international criminal law, international environmental law, and international trade law, and among others. Public international law is essential for promoting peaceful relations between states, protecting human rights, and addressing global challenges such as climate change, terrorism, and cybercrime. It provides a framework for a cooperation and collaboration among nations while also ensuring that each state's sovereignty is respected. As the world becomes more interconnected and interdependent, the importance of public international law has continued to grow, and the role it plays in shaping the global political and economic landscape remains critical. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Syuhada bint Abdul Qadir and my matric number is H1A2466. Now I will continue with the other international law, which is private international law. Private international law is a part of municipal law, as a result of which every country there will be a different version of it. The main concept of private international law is the foreign element. Private international law is the area of law that comes into play whenever a court is faced with a question that contains a foreign element or a foreign connection. The mere presence of such a foreign element in a legal matter raises a number of questions, and it is the function of private international law to provide an answer to these questions and to ensure just solutions. The last classification is private law. Private law concerns with matters that affect the rights and duties of individuals among themselves. Private law plays an important role in our society and governs many different aspects of our life. Intended to give compensation to person injured, to enable property to be recovered from wrongdoers, and to enforce obligations. Consists two categories, which is law of contract and law of trust. For law of contract are based on agreement which legally enforced. The laws that govern the formation, performance, and termination of contracts. Contracts can be oral or written, and they can be simple or complex. The essential elements in a contract are offer, acceptance, intention to enter into legal relations, consideration, certainty, and capacity to contract. Meanwhile, law of trust is an equitable obligation binding a person to deal with property over which he has control for the benefit of persons of whom he may himself be one, and any one of the beneficiaries may enforce the obligations. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Amirul Mukmin bin Adnan. My matric number is H21A2197. Today I'll talk about Malaysia resources. Written law, unwritten law, and Islamic law are the three basic legal precedents in Malaysia. Written law is split into four branches: the Federal Constitution, State Constitution, Legislation, and Subsidiary Legislation. The three sections of unwritten law are English law, judicial law, and customary law. And lastly is Islamic law. First of all is written law. What is written law? Written refers to something that has been formally enacted into a piece of primary legislation or subsidiary legislation. Written doesn't necessarily imply in print or in black and white. Different sort of legal system exist in many nations. While some nations exclusively use one type of legal system, others use a blend of two or more legal system, which is referred to as a mixed legal system. Malaysians use a hybrid legal system that combine common law, Islamic law, and customary law. The written and unwritten law are the two sources of law that make up the Malaysian legal system. The Federal Constitution, State Constitution, Legislation, and Subsidiary Legislation compose the written law, which is the most significant source of law in the Malaysian legal system. The Federal Constitution is the written constitution of 13 of our state. Another way to say written law is the law that is enshrined in the Federal Constitution, which is the ultimate law of Malaysia and protect each person's basic right. The Federal Constitution also specifies that the Yang di-Pertuan Agong owe his position to the Constitution and conduct himself in accordance with it. The Constitution may be amended with the support of 2/3 of the legislature total members. The Federal Constitution provides the power of the federal and state government. It also provides fundamental rights of individual. A state constitution, often known as the state constitution, governs the state government in addition to the Federal Constitution. The provisions in the state constitution are given in the 8th schedule. The clause cover the ruler, the executive council, the legislature, as well as other relevant topics like the legislative assembly, financial clauses, public servant, and constitutional change. State legislative assembly and parliament both have legislative authority at the federal level, where laws are enacted. Ordinance refer to law passed by parliament in 1946. Delegated legislation is legislation created by a person or group while acting within the authority granted them by a parliamentary. It is significant because the law created by the state and by parliament are insufficient to provide the rules required to regulate daily affairs. A law is anything that parliament has passed. The federal constitution governs this legislation. At the federal level, parliament enact law, while at the state level, numerous state assemblies do the same. The legislation aims to control a wide range of indirect issues, including employment, social security, taxation, and economic management. Because Parliament lack of the resource both in terms of time and knowledge to truly evaluate every industry or community, regulatory framework, delegated legislation is crucial. Delegated legislation grants certain group, individual, local government, and government minister the authority to enact legislation. Subsidiary legislation is defined as any proclamation, rule, regulation, order, notification, bylaw, or other instrument made under act, enactment, ordinance, or other lawful authority and having legislative effect in Section 3 of the Interpretation Act 1948 and 1967. According to the definition provided by Section 3, an order, notification, or other piece of writing can only be regarded as subsidiary legislation if it has legislative effect. The subsidiary legislation are flexible, may make it simple to administer the specific matter. It is very important because specify the law in more detail, and for everyday matters, it can be made public as soon as possible without having go through the lengthy legislative procedure.
Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. My name is Farah Amni Jazina binti Jasni and my metric number is H21A2044. Today I will present about unwritten law and Islamic law. There are three subdivisions in the unwritten law, namely English law, judicial decision, and custom. The meaning of unwritten law is most common in primitive communities with high level of illiteracy because many people such civilization cannot read and write. It is pointless to print written rules to guide their behavior. The first subdivision in unwritten law is English law. English law can be found in English common law and equity rules. Nevertheless, not all of English common law and equity provision are applicable to Malaysian law. For example, Section 3(1) of the Civil Law Act in year 1956 state that courts in Peninsular Malaysia must adopt English common law and equity principle in effect on April 7 in year 1956. In Sabah and Sarawak, the courts should adopt English common law and equity rules as well as regulations of broad applicability as administered or enforced in England on December 1 in year 1951. Next, Malaysian law may also be found in judicial decision of the High Court, Court of Appeal and Federal Court as well as the 10th Supreme Court and the Privy Council's Judicial Committee. The doctrine of binding precedents was used to make and continues to make decisions in these courts. A precedent is essentially a court of law judgment that is acknowledged as authority for the legal concept represented in its decision. In order for a precedent to operate effectively, there must be a judicial hierarchy in place, with subordinate courts bound by the judgment of higher courts in that hierarchy. In addition, residence customs in Malaysia are also a source of legislation. In general, conventions pertaining to family law are granted legal validity by Malaysian courts. Native customary rules apply in Sabah and Sarawak in land deals involving native customary land and family problems when native submit to native customary laws. There are two types of Malay customary law in Peninsular Malaysia, which is Adat Pepatih and Adat Temenggung. Adat Pepatih is widely used among Malays in Negeri Sembilan and Nanning, Malacca, and it is successful in things such as land tenure, lineage, and the election of lembaga regulation and Yang di-Pertuan Besar. The matrilineal system of the Adat Pepatih is well known. The Adat Temenggung is practiced in the other states. The Adat Temenggung, which developed in Palembang, Sumatra, develops on a patrilineal legal system. The last is the legal system that rules the Muslim world is known as Islamic law. It is founded on Islamic ideals of justice and is taken from the Quran and Hadiths. Family law, contract law, criminal law, and financial law are all covered under Islamic law. The Sultan is the leader of the Muslim religion in a state. The Yang di-Pertuan Negeri is the head of state in Penang, Melaka, Sabah, Sarawak, and the Federal Territories. Sharia courts are the courts in the nation that enforce Islamic law. Islamic or Sharia principles in business, notably in banking and finance, are becoming increasingly important in banking operation, lending, and investing.